Hello, Pearl Jam fan community. Welcome to the Wishlist Foundation's interview series, Candle of Thought, where we illuminate the people, causes, and music that are important to the Pearl Jam community. I am your host, Chrissie Ferguson. Today, I am excited to introduce you to my friend, Josh Arroyo, husband, father, drummer, Pearl Jam fan, and the Ohana Festival's Tiki stage manager for the last 3 years. Josh is also the best storyteller. I could listen to him share his experiences all day long. If you made it to Ohana a couple of weekends ago, you are still reminiscing like I am about the music, the waves, and our Ohana family. So since we are still on that Ohana high, we are going to spend some time tonight recapping the amazing Ohana experience. Whether you were there or you simply enjoyed our videos from afar, you won't want to miss my chat with Josh right now, because like I said, he is the best storyteller. So let's get started. Welcome, Josh. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Hello, Chrissie, and you're welcome. And thank you for having me. And hello to everyone in the Wishlist Foundation fan base. Hi.
So I want to start out kind of talking about doing an overview of highlights, because there's so much I know that we can dig deep into. And I want to talk about the Tiki stage and how you started helping at Ohana and all of that and all of your amazing experiences, you know, with Pearl Jam and getting to be on stage drumming when Matt Cameron was out. But I just want
to same hat. I found it.
But I just want to think about the highlights. I'm going to give you my highlights, and I know your perspective is a lot different from the stage.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Definitely the Amanda Reckonwith experience with Surprise Eddie.
Sure.
Yep. Green Day was huge because I've never seen Green Day, and I just loved seeing also their fan base and all those little punk rockers running around. The beach is, you know, we live here on the beach, totally different side, totally different ocean, right? But being on that beach and watching all those surfers of all ages and those little girls and boys out there learning how to surf, that's like a highlight for me.
Oh yeah, that
I love those. Oh, it's awesome to watch. And the Cove was amazing with all the artwork and the artists and the storytellers. We have to talk, if we have time, about Chad Smith, because I have never seen the Earthlings. I've never seen Chili Peppers, so I've never seen Chad Smith. And I was like actually blown away by him. And I can't get over, like, I can't get past the drum off with Will Ferrell. Like, whenever I see him, I'm like thinking of that that drum off. That was so funny. With who was it with? Now I'm blanking. Jimmy Kimmel. Yes.
Was it Jimmy Fallon?
Jimmy, yes, it was so funny. And then of course the Earthlings. That was like a huge, you know, I was excited to see them, and I was really, really impressed with what they did. And then even trying some of the covers, the Pearl Jam covers. So there were so many awesome things. Like, if you just go boom, 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 if I did a checklist, before we dig into it, what is your checklist from your perspective?
Your checklist is my checklist. Let's roll with it. I love it. And yeah, absolutely. Was that your first time seeing the Earthlings?
Yes.
Okay, really? Okay, so you weren't on a couple of years ago when they performed in 2023?
No, I think we missed it. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. So we really enjoyed it. It was, you know, it was fun seeing everybody on stage, and Andrew Watt was amazing as well. So were you able to go out into the audience during that time, or were you working on your stage, or what was your experience during their performance?
The advantage of stage managing the Tiki stage, in a sense, if you want to call it an advantage, is that the shows end earlier. You know, the music stops on the Tiki stage for the rest of the day.
Because you're all day long.
6:30.
Yeah.
And we go all day long. You know, we're there super early in the morning. We have 4 or 5 bands on the Tiki stage per day, but they're scheduled to usually by like 6:30. So the 2 last bands on the main stage can really just generate all the attention. So if you're speaking of like Friday specifically, once I load out my last band, I get their gear to their truck or their van, and their equipment is where it needs to go, and they're happy with the show, and they're in catering or VIP. My band's gone for the day. What I'll usually do if it's Friday night is do a little prep for the next day. And that mainly consists of just like making sure I have all the right risers, because in a festival situation, the riser movement is key. And different bands have low risers and some bands have high risers. And the ability to put not only drums and keyboards, but like guitar amps on low risers is that you can clear them off the stage or move them onto the stage super quickly during those changeovers that we have while the main stage is going. Mm-hmm. So point in being is like, I'll stay a little bit later to make sure that the right number of risers, the right height of them, and the right position either on the stage or off the stage to start the next morning. As soon as I get those risers set, I'm checking in with my production manager and saying, Ray, risers are good for tomorrow. I'm going to go watch the Earthlings. And I split. I'm free. Thank God. My job for the most part for the day is over, and I can go watch the show. And I snuck out to, I think I went to front of house.
Nice.
I mean, if I got the credential to do it, why not? It's going to sound the best out there. You're going to have a clear shot. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. So yes.
What were your highlights from that night?
The Zeppelin cover was great leading into Rearview Mirror. The Zeppelin cover was fantastic. The Save It for Later with the sax, a little bit of horns bringing into the mix, but just watching that band play anything is a treat. I saw them in 2023. It was not with Chad Smith. I was busy with the Peppers a couple of years ago. And so there was this huge curiosity in my mind, who's going to be playing drums 2023 with the Earthlings at Ohana. And it was my first Ohana. I was nervous. I was excited, everything all about it. And, Ed likes to do a sound check on Thursday nights, and thousands of people will go on the beach just to hear those sound checks. He likes to sound check at his leisure with his band on Thursday night, and then they can move their equipment, bring it out the next day or the day after, et cetera, et cetera. So in 2023, I walked over to the main stage when the Earthlings band gear, or as we call it in rock and roll terms, we call it backline. Their cases were coming out of the truck because I was so curious to whose drum cases are going to go behind the drum riser. Is it going to be Matt? Well, it's not going to be Chad Smith. There's all these variables you think about. And then these red cases appeared with this white gaff tape with black Sharpie, big thick tip Sharpie. And it said, Abe Laboriel Jr. He is Paul McCartney's drummer and has been for like 25 years. So when I saw that Abe Laboriel was going to be with the Earthlings that year, it was like, wow. And honestly, that was my first time seeing the Earthlings.
Yeah.
I never made it to any of their theater tours that they did, when I just wasn't. My sister saw them at like Ben Royal Hall in Seattle. But so where are we at? Chad Smith, backload. Yeah. I was able to see the Earthlings. Thank God I was able to see them. Yes. And it's because my stage ends earlier.
Yes, that's awesome. And what did you think about Chad as a drummer?
Okay.
You're a drummer yourself.
You want to get into discussion about Chad Smith. There is a poster on my wall. It says the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Nirvana, and Pearl Jam opening New Year's Eve, 1991, 1992, Cow Palace, San Francisco, at that show.
Wow.
But I missed Pearl Jam because I didn't know who they freaking were. And my buddies were trying to get me to go in. And I was too busy in the parking lot partying, pre-gaming on New Year's Eve that I missed Pearl Jam. Just in time to see Nirvana's set, 45-minute set. And of course, the Peppers headline playing through the midnight hour. So being a drummer and being a lifelong Chili Peppers fan, I mean, I was a teenager when their earlier albums were coming out, but Chad didn't join the band until Jack Irons left. So Chad joined the band when they recorded Mother's Milk, which was the record before Blood Sugar Sex Magik that they did with Rick Rubin. I practiced drums last night, as you know, and I randomly went to the Blood Sugar Sex Magik album, which is incredible. It's a 17-track album. And I went deep, deep, deep into a cut that not many people listen to. It's not a radio track. It's called My Lovely Man. Lee and Anthony wrote it for Hillel Slovak, who was the original guitar player for the Peppers, who was on heroin. And it's got a really, really funky beat. It was challenging to play along with. So my opinion of Chad Smith is he is an absolute badass. He's a big guy. He's strong. He's powerful. He's got funk. He's got rock. And he plays the Peppers. He can play any style of music, which is why Eddie was like, who do I want to play in my band? I mean, who's available out there? Wow. And Chad's a super nice guy. Like, he is, I've seen some videos with him. He is a rock star. And he knows, and he's grateful for it. He does take his success lightly. Chad Smith, just like Taylor Hawkins, really graduated from high school, and the drums saved his life. Chad worked in Chad came up in Detroit, Michigan. So he played in some really hard clubs, lugging his own gear around, sweaty towels, stinky venues. He did it all before he ever got the shot of auditioning for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He impressed them in his audition. He's been the drummer since. I mean, Chad's incredible.
Yeah, it was really cool to see in person for sure. You've got to tell us about the surprise with Eddie and Glen, because that was for sure my number one highlight. Just being, so close. I never knew if I would see Eddie and Glen. I guess I saw years ago in Fort Lauderdale when it was just Eddie coming through in the very small venues like the Broward Performing Arts Center. And Glen was there. And I guess that was the first time that I heard Falling Slowly. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then it was when he came out, first of all, the whispering was, maybe he's coming out. Who is this Amanda Reckonwith, that is mysteriously playing or not playing? And then, and then seeing Carrie sound check for him and knowing, okay, wait, he's definitely coming out. But then them seeing
where were you? Where were you on the lawn when beautiful Sunday afternoon occurred and we rolled out Eddie's Rise?
I was like, if you had to say rows, I was like 3 rows off the rail.
Realize you were that close.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here waiting around. I'm taking it all in. I'm like, there's the suitcase. There's Carrie. It's definitely happening. And then everybody you start to come into the back, so it really was like.
You see Simon up there with the guitar in his hands.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it was so surreal and super emotional. I think for a lot of us, actually, it was just kind of this surprise, and then hearing Eddie with Glen and hearing those songs, and they sounded so amazing. I mean, I shared my recording, and I hate recording because I just want to be present in the moment, but I'm like, this is going to be too good to not share. So I shared it on Wishlist, and people are like, that sound is amazing. And I'm like, you don't even know, this sounded good, but just being there was it was amazing. So tell us about what you knew, because you were super quiet about it.
So here's your months ago, knowing I'm being invited back to Ohana and excited about it, I emailed my production manager and I simply just asked him, what is the lineup? Do you have the lineup for the days yet, so I can just study these bands? and watch them on YouTube, because a lot of the bands that are on the Tiki stage, I've never heard of them. You know, they're newer bands and they're up and coming bands. And so I have to do my research on them. And of course, on the Sunday schedule, there's the late afternoon TBD. That was months ago. And I just was thinking, oh, well, I guess they're going to find another band. They're not sure yet. That's okay. We're like 3 months out. No problem. And then I was not paying attention to any changes to the lineup as far as social media, online, or the website when it changed to Amanda. I didn't even see that happen. But 10 days out or so, it's about 2 weeks before the actual festival, my production manager emails me a Dropbox. Dropbox contains what are called stage plots, which are maps of the stage. And God, I should get it to you, but I don't have it out here. And so they are drawings, set up their stuff, where their amps go. They're like overhead views of the stage, so you know how they go. He sends input lists are all about microphone channels. Channel 1 is vocals. Channel 2 is going to list. Some bands have 200 channels on their input list. He sends me information that's going to be vital to my success off the weekend, and studying and putting together into what I call like a playbook, an NFL playbook. If I've got this ready to go, shot at being on schedule, making sure all the bands perform right, they have the right gear, because some bands, and they don't bring their own equipment because it's a one-off. They fly into Ohana, they bring ours and their drumsticks, but they rent a drum kit or they borrow some amps. That's the backline. And so there's a list of backline, what bands are going to be using what. And I need to organize and sort all that stuff out. So when he sent me the Dropbox and I started leafing through each day, well, I got to Sunday and it said Eddie Vedder with no information, no stage plot, nothing, just Eddie Vedder. I went, is this for real? And I sent him a text and I said, Ray, Eddie's really going to be on the Tiki on Sunday afternoon. He said, yep, he wants to do a secret set, keep it on the down low. When you arrive on site, we'll gather some more information on exactly what he wants to do from his management. So I just jumped. I was like, oh my God. It's one thing to have Ed come out and grab a microphone and introduce a band and walk off the stage. Or maybe have him come out and sit in with somebody and be around in that sort of form. But and yet, like, pressure I felt, and this excitement to make sure on a professional level that I was going to do everything in my power to make sure that that performance went off flawlessly. Working with Carrie, with the whole Pearl Jam crew, is always very exciting for me because they are A-game pros. Simon, Greg at front of house, like they're an A-team road crew. That's the road crew I've been trying to get a job with for 20 years because like they're the best organization out there. They're great. But in the process of that, you know, Carrie's monitor equipment was on the main stage for Friday. So we had to move it over to the Tiki stage secretly on Saturday night. Greg's front of house stuff was out at front of house for main stage. We had to move it over. You talk about saying how great it sounded. It's because we made the work. We took Greg's monitor console, which weighs like 1,000 pounds, across the grass at night from the main over to the Tiki so Greg could run Eddie's show with his own front of house console. You've got
with all the lights out. Were you doing this like when it's dark out? Nobody can see.
We did a lot of this late Saturday night. And I was talking about risers earlier. Typically my risers are 8x8. No problem. When they started discussing what Ed wanted, because Glenn was going to be joining him, and Ed likes to have some more stuff on his riser. He said, Ed's going to go with the 12. I said, okay, well then we got to figure out how to build a big 12x12. And not only build it, but figure out a way to take it from stage corner without anything blocking its way to roll out to the front of the stage without getting jammed up our equipment. There's so many little things that you got to pay attention to make it all come together. I was excited and I was determined to make sure I did anything to make that performance was what it would become, which was a beautiful Sunday afternoon, an ocean breeze through, Ed up there by himself, you know, a couple Into the Wild tracks. Glen comes out. I like that Ed told about the guy that just got out of prison, his friend from the Saving the Whales organization. And I like the way that Ed uses the stage to do more things than.
Yeah. Yeah, because he had talked about him last year. And I also liked hearing about his award for Ohana, for the Ohana Festival. I didn't, you know, it's neat. I mean, it always is really cool to be at a concert or, you know, and especially in a smaller venue, or especially like that day when I was so close, and you see how invested he is and how emotional. He was so emotional, you know, because he was so proud of the festival and what it's become. And
he really was. Yeah.
And he should be. But it was just amazing. I was just imagining that, you know, you all must have just felt like it was like Christmas morning, because like you knew what was going to happen, and you know, just couldn't wait for him to come out and see what people did, you know.
Yeah,
had to be pretty awesome on your end.
Yeah, it was exciting for me just to be around to help, you know, Simon build the riser, and the rug goes out, the amps come out, you see the whole little rig start to come together, you see the suitcase, you know. It's very exciting to see all that behind the scenes stuff. And I always have to walk, you know, I walk a fine line when I go work Ohana. I am, you know, a very responsible stage manager. I love my job. Also a fan. So I have to like be professional and do my job and enjoy those moments in a way that's very, I don't know how to even put it, like control your excitement, Josh, enjoy the show, be professional from start to finish, even though he is on stage.
Right. Yeah.
Or that one. How about that? That one.
That's nice too.
So it's very,
I love it.
It's incredibly exciting for me, you know. It's very special, without a question, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I went out to front of house. I left the stage once Eddie got up there, and his team was sort of wrangling up family and helping family have good views from the stage. Once I knew that Carrie was good and was good, I left the stage. I went out to front of house to meet up with my brother, and we watched the set just, you know, out from front of house, feeling the breeze. And that was the best place to watch it until he went into Hard Sun. And I was like, ooh, that's always the set finale. I better get back up there during this song. Right. And so I was there during Hard Sun. I positioned myself behind Harry, pulled out my phone, made a video at the end of it. It's pretty cool to you because it's a different angle. And there you have it. You know, great, really exciting.
It was awesome. And we talked a little bit about this the other day. What do you think? Next year is 10 years for Ohana. And so we were kind of talking a little bit about our own fan list, who we'd like to see, but tell everybody who you would like to see. Or who you think
I'd like to see. Cool. I'd like with whoever's on drums, and that's a whole other discussion. I'd like to see at least one night, or maybe two, like they in the middle, because they need a break. They need to take the rest of his voice. Ed can't do back to back anymore. So let's go Pearl Jam Friday, U2 on Saturday, U2. How about that?
It'd be amazing. I don't know.
You gotta aim high. You know, you are the magazine. Polestar is a very, very reputable concert industry magazine. To receive the global festival of under 30,000 people for the third time speaks volume of what they could do to attract. I mean, Green Day, big band, Peppers, Foo Fighters, etc. There's some posters around here that I can refer to. Go high. Get a hold of Bono. Let's get U2 there. I don't know if Larry Mullen's on the drums anymore. I think U2 got a new drummer because Larry's had some health issues. But if you can get Sting, go after U2.
Sting was
like
yeah.
a stripped down U2, not the big crazy production that they've done in the past at the Spear or the spaceship that they built back in the day. Think Rattle and Hum.
Yeah.
We
be amazing. It's got to be.
What about you?
It's got to be big. I mean, 10 years. It's gonna be special for sure. We're trying to decide whether or not to go ahead and book our hotel.
Yeah, you should probably book it.
Who would I want?
At least hold the roof over your head, because that's all you can do. You can't get tickets yet. You can get flights later on, but accommodations near Dana Point are tricky. That's the key thing to lock in first. Okay, who do you want to see at Ohana? 10th anniversary.
I said this the other night. I mean, I don't know if it would be too random, but I would love to see Coldplay.
Okay.
I really love to see Coldplay.
Yeah. Another great band that is still active.
Big one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I also don't want to see it get bigger, like I feel like it's already grown. So it's fun to tell everybody how amazing it is, but I'm also like, shh, it's like the best secret. Right.
Yeah. So. I mean, this year completely sold out again. The capacity is 15,000 and there's really no room to go beyond that.
Physically, there's just,
unless you open up a little bit and you push the bleachers and the fence line out to the beach. But I don't think the Parks and Rec would say, okay, we can't take up that much space. You got your space. You're happy with it. I don't think it's going to grow size-wise. You're right. It might just continue to grow in popularity via wealth and, accolades.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as it should. It's been amazing. I want to talk about, because there's so much to talk about, but I know I wrote the article after you had the opportunity to be on stage with Pearl Jam. So I'm sure a lot of people have already seen that, but hearing you tell the story of what happened with that night and that opportunity to play the drums on stage with Pearl Jam, I just have to have you finish our conversation with that. Tell us how that all came to be. Tell us about your shirt, which obviously got noticed.
Wow. Yeah. I was working the Telluride Blues and Brews Festival a couple weeks before Ohana. I was stage managing out there, and my buddy, who's my production manager out there, he introduced me to a friend of his wife who was a huge fan, and she wanted me to tell the story to her. And it took half an hour. It took a long time. I think I even dropped a couple tears during the process of telling it. It will forever live, in my life. One of the most incredibly random and special experiences I've ever had. You've got marrying my wife, huge. Birth of my daughters, huge. Playing drums with Pearl Jam, huge. I mean, that experience is right up there with those life experiences that you cannot predict. You can only dream about and go, fuck, that's never going to happen. I mean, Matt's died for that to happen or something. So, it's a long story. I mean, I was there with my daughter. My brother got hit by, my brother was in San Francisco that afternoon. He was riding his damn Vespa across some intersection and got plastered to the ground, went to the ER emergency. I was living in the Napa Valley at the time, which is like a 1-hour drive to Oakland. And I'm 15 minutes into my drive and I see my phone ring and it's my brother's wife, who doesn't call me all the time. And she says, Josh, where are you? I said, Izzy and I are in Oakland. And she said, well, Dan's not going to be able to make it tonight. And I was like, shoot, that's too bad. I've got my other brother going. Why not all three brothers go to the Oakland show? Because we're all fans of the band. And my sister-in-law says, no, he's just been in an accident. He got hit by a car at an intersection by a woman who ran a red light in San Francisco. He's not in good shape. He's going to the hospital. He's going in for surgery. He's going to probably live, but he's really dinged up. So I hang up the phone. I was talking to her. I was like, look, I'll drop this show right now. Not happening. I'm going home. I'm dropping off Izzy at home. I'm on my way to San Francisco right now. And she said, he's going in for surgery. Furthermore, hospitals still had those conditions of one test at a time. So I'm even going to be allowed into the hospital anyway. And so she said, look, go to the show yourself. I'll keep you updated. I hang up the phone, even though that experience to come that night was, going to unpredictable. The back of my mind that entire night was my brother completely crushed, broken ribs, broken collarbone, knee, punctured lung, fighting for his life. And there was nothing I could do until the next day. So long story short, when my brother came out of surgery and came to be conscious again, and his wife told him what happened in Oakland that night, my brother, number one, he didn't believe it. He said, you're lying to me. Come on. Josh didn't play with Pearl Jam. And then when my sister-in-law showed him a YouTube video, he threw up. He puked. He was like, oh my, he threw up on the floor of the hospital. He was just like so tripped out. So everything that happened that night was in the back of my head. My younger brother, one of my best, truest friends, is 50 pretty soon, and I'm going to surprise him in Mexico. He's not going to know I'm behind the bar at this little bar in Guadalajara when he walks in. My brother is one of my best. So I had to I had to continue that night, like with that in the back of my head. And I arrive at the Oakland Arena, and some old friends from going way back in the day, they're tailgating, and they haven't seen me in a while. I haven't met my daughter in quite some time. So, we go out to have a little tailgate party, keep looking at the watch. Shit, we missed Eddie's little stick opener. I think he opened with the needle and the punch done, or some Neil Young cover being in the band. And at some point it was time to go in. It was like, hey, everyone, it's great to see you again, but it's go time. And me and Izzy we're going to venue. I'm excited. And I was excited that it was Izzy's first Pearl Jam show. And I was excited, same venue that my dad had taken me to my first big rock, which was Rush at the Oakland Arena when I was 12, same buildings. So when Izzy and I can't thing is that when Izzy and I entered the arena, okay, we went to the bathroom, we went water bottles. I did not buy a $15 beer because the beer is crap that they serve there. And it's not worth it. And with my daughter, I got to drive home to Napa later anyway. It's not a drink night. Okay. It's a father-daughter night. And when we came and got some water bottles and started shuffling down the aisle, eventually supposedly making our way to real seats where our tickets were for, which was behind the stage, I went down this tunnel which opens up to seats sort of right above Mike and Pearl Jam's guitar tech world, right, where you've got all the vaults, where George is up front, who's tech for Jeff, a line of vaults along the back, Mike's 24 guitars that he's got up there on tour. And there was a lot of empty seats. That section might have been held for Pearl Jam guest list. Why not? Empty seats. And it was such a good view. I looked at my daughter and I was like, you know what? This is too good. Let's sit here. This is a really good stage. We're only maybe 8 rows up from the rail on the side. So there, and I said, if somebody comes, we'll leave, but let's watch the show here. And that's where we would watch the show. And that's when the black curtains that they cut. Josh's band is on stage. Now for the look of the stage, you ever notice like the headliners cover their gear with big black curtains, so you can't see their drum set. And they pull the curtain up, and I see this drum set, and it's an orange Ludwig Vistalite John Bonham-esque drum set. What the hell is that? Has Matt changed sponsorships? God, he's been a Yamaha guy forever. Oh, custom with the wood hoops. I know Matt's kit, and I'm confused as hell. The cymbals are lower than what Matt plays. The ride cymbal, which is the cymbal off to your right, if you're right-handed above the floor tom drums, it's kind of small. It's not as big. Matt's is huge. And I just like, and then as you know, house lights down, house lights right back up. Keeley went down, Keeley went up, and they open with Rockin' in the Free World with Klinghoffer on the drums. And I'm just like, what's going on here? Where's Matt? Furthermore, you're opening with this song. I don't think you've ever opened with this song in your entire career. So they're opening with that track, number one. And Josh is on the kit. Very confusing. And the house lights are on. You know,
so,
very confusing.
So then, yes. So we get to the encore.
We get to
fast forward.
No. You don't get to the encore. you get to the end of Daughter. There was the break in between Daughter and Not For You, I think it was.
Oh, really? Okay.
Let's check. Hold on. Hang on. You talking about
you would know.
Here
you
it
would
is.
know.
Here it is. So it was later in the first set, right here. Klinghoffer's in blue, Richard's in red, etc. It was right before Not For You. So it was after the end of Daughter. That Ed began telling the story of Who playing in the Bay Area in 1973 when Keith Moon had too much alcohol and too many sedatives and fell off not play the show. He was so messed up. I mean, Keith Moon partied hard. That's why he didn't live very long. Keith Moon could not physically play drums. I know that story. I've read that story. I know that history. And I hear Ed going, way back in 1973, The Who. I was like, oh, he's telling me about. And my mind immediately went to Pete Townsend pulled someone out of the crowd. I've been watching a lot of videos in this pandemic on how the fitters do that occasionally. And Dave Grohl slap a guitar on some kid and go for it, kid. You got it or not? So I was like, nah, that can't happen. That can't. But maybe. And then Ed started saying, but does anyone want to play drums? Or however he worded it. I was like, oh my fucking God. I got to get down there. I got the right shirt on. Okay, so the shirt was that my buddy in Chicago made. Let's give him credit. DJ Evil Vince. His name is Christopher May. He's one of my oldest friends. We toured with Ben Harper together. He is a graphic artist. He's a DJ. He's a photographer. He's incredible. He made the shirt that he sent to me months before the show with, I should have worn it today, the names, but I wore it last night in the studio, so it's in the laundry basket, with the names of all of Pearl Jam's ex-drummers in big white font. That was the shirt that I selected to her before we left home that night. And trust me, it was a difficult decision. What t-shirt do you wear tonight? Because a t-shirt says a lot, especially when you even go to a Pearl Jam show. Your t-shirt says a lot. Oh, you're at that show. Or, oh, wow, that's a vintage one. Is that real? Is that really that old? Were you really that old that you saw the Vitology tour live? So the t-shirt decision was very difficult. I ended up wanting to wear something that I knew nobody else would have because he made those custom. I was probably one of the first prints he ever made. He knows I love that band. He knows I play drums. I put that shirt on. Ed starts talking about the story. I run down the steps. I get to the ring. I grab my shirt and I try to hold it as straight as I can so it can be read from a distance. Ed starts bantering one guy down on the floor about, yeah, maybe you, but with this COVID thing, I don't think it's a good idea to pull anyone out of the thing, he called it. And then Mike McCready saw my shirt and it caught his eyes. And he tapped on Jeff's shoulder and went, look at that guy. What about that shirt? And you know, Jeff's all about like t-shirt design and graphic arts. He's their arts guy. Jeff designed this hat. So Jeff sees it and he's like, wow, because Jeff is impressed by t-shirts. You know, he's a graphics guy. And then he gets Ed's attention. And then Ed said whatever he said. But can he play? And I just stood there and went, nervous. And my daughter, mind you, watch YouTube, is wearing a 1998 vintage Pearl Jam soccer jersey that didn't fit me anymore because we've all grown up with age. She's jumping up and down, trying to like, you know, can't pick my dad, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it worked because when I started Ohana a couple of years ago and he looked at me strange, like, we've met before. And I said, yeah, Ed, we went to bridge school a long time ago and Jack's cool. I played drums with you just a couple of years ago. And he's like, that was you? First thing he said to me was like, how's your daughter? Like he remembered her more than.
Aww.
So he said, let's get
that's amazing.
Let's get him COVID tested. Let's see what happens. So I completely daughter. I'm so excited. Over the rail. I leave my 12-year-old in the stands. Thank God she's with a big, gigantic friend of mine named Cinco, who took her under his wing until security went to go far and bring her backstage to join me. She got COVID tested. Mind you, this is still coming out of COVID stuff, and everyone was trying to, I mean, Matt was sick. They were being as protective as they possibly could. So there you have it. They COVID tested me. They took me to the practice room because they wanted to see if I could play drums or not. You can't just take someone's word and then go to the band and go, hey, do you pull this guy out of the crowd? It can completely disaster if someone's lying. So they bring me into the practice room, and it's one of their security guys named Big Pete. He's been with them forever. You've seen Big Pete. He's like 6'6". He's the man. I recognize Big Pete because in the month before the show, I had been doing compliance training for the Jack Johnson tour that I was going to go on that summer. I was doing training for COVID compliance and how to tour safely with testing and this and that and masks. I was doing it with Pete's employees. I went straight to I went to like Pete's company, who did best security company in the United States, how to do this, because my tour manager said, Josh, you need to reach out to some people who are already figuring this out. Where are your kids? And I said, well, let's learn from the best. Let's learn from Pearl Jam. Let's get Pete. So I know who Big Pete was. He brought me to the practice room. I say, what do you want me to play? Is there a set list in here somewhere? Yes, there's a set list hanging out in the practice room. Okay, what's in the encore? Baba O'Reilly's in the encore. Oh, got it. So I sit down the drum set, and I count in Baba O'Reilly, sort of dun, 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 until the drop in, which Richard completely crushed that night. I could not have played that song. Forget about it. And I play a bit of Baba O'Reilly, and Pete's like, okay. You can play it. Got it. That's when things got weird. Which I probably didn't even tell you 3 years ago because I couldn't remember the whole story and how it went. I looked at Pete Beadle and I went, Pete, may I take 6 steps back? COVID, hello. May I take six steps back, pulled out my wallet. I'm Josh Arroyo. I'm that guy, with the Jack organization that's like been doing the COVID compliance, like learners sessions with you and your guys. He looks at me and goes, that's really you, huh? I'm like, yeah, I've been doing training sessions with you guys. And he goes, oh man, wait till Smitty gets a hold of this. So he calls up Smitty on the radio. Smitty, who I've been asking for a job for like 20 years. Every time there's a tour announcement, Smitty gets harassed with a Josh Arroyo email that says, hey, Smitty, any openings for the upcoming tour? Ed need a wine sommelier out there? And he said, let's go see Smitty. So I know Smitty because I've met Smitty through the years. And we find Smitty in those dark hallways behind the stage. And Pete says, drop your mask. I drop my mask and I look at Smitty and I say, hey, Smitty. And he goes, hey, Josh. 24,000 people out there and we pull you out of the crowd? You got to be kidding me. Wait till Ed. Oh, Jesus. Go enjoy the show. Your daughter, go stage left, go watch the show. We're going to talk with the band. We're going to see what they want to do. Oh, God. Smitty's just shaking his head. He's like, oh, Josh Arroyo, that guy's always bugging me for a job in this organization. Never any openings, so I don't know where to put him. Whatever, my dream is to be hired to work on a Pearl Jam tour at any level, and then I can call it. And when that will be the pinnacle of my roadie career, would be finally who's gonna drum tech for the new guy. Is Neil gonna stay on, or is Neil Matt with whatever Matt's doing? I'm sure Neil's gonna go help Matt Hall of Fame induction and a variety of other projects, but that brings up a whole who's gonna be the next drummer. It's not gonna be me. I am not good enough to play drums in that band, for God's sakes. I could drum tech for someone. Maybe I'll bother Smitty about that in the future. Nevertheless, Smitty shakes his head and he goes, I can't believe we pulled Josh Arroyo out of here. We know that guy from all. Him and Jack and Ed are friends. We've had Josh when we went out to Ohana Festival in 2007. Josh shows up with a bottle of wine for Ed because he's a wine guy. So I go to Carrie's side of the stage, watch the end of the main set. At the end of Porch, Pete sends another security guy to come get me, brings me backstage. So I'm just near the band, but across from a couple road cases of them. And they're having a huddle with Smitty. And Smitty's informing them, what you pulled out? Oh, by the way, you pulled out one of Jack's guys. Of all people, you probably know this guy you look at him. So do you want him to play or not? He's been in the practice room. He can play. He can play drums. It's up to you guys. And I'm looking over at my favorite band having this huddle and discussing things. And I am shaking. I'm like this. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. This is not real. This is not happening right now. Take a brief breath. You arena. This is nuts. And Eddie breaks to go do Your Love Away, the Beatles cover. But before he runs up, he comes over and he goes, hey, Josh. I go, hey, Ed. And he goes, this is pretty weird. I said, no. This is pretty awesome. And he said, you want to sit in on Ledbetter at the end of the night? I said, I can do it. Okay. I'll see you up there. And Ed went up the ramp. And I went, oh, boy, it's real now. Okay. I went back to Pete or Smitty. I can't remember who it was. And I said, may I please go back to the practice room? I just want to run through Ledbetter once. I need to hear it. Went back to the practice room, found a live version of Ledbetter, Matt version, one from the last 25 years, Matt version, put my phone down on the bass drum, picked up a pair of drumsticks, turned as loud as it would go, and just sort of like played it in the air, listening. Okay. I've heard that song 250 times. I know that song by heart. I sing that song out loud in the car when I'm by myself all the time. I love Ledbetter, right? I'm from the Ledbetter era. And so I'll have to cut it short, Chrissy. You asked for a story tell. You got me. I was nervous, excited, and someone said, okay, cool, you got it. Okay, we'll escort you back to the stage. Just stay with your daughter. I was a couple, and Brett and the monitor team. And I just sat and, literally watched encore of Better Man, Lucan, and Better Man was with Josh, but then they switched back for Lucan, Animal Alive back. I got to see from the side of the stage Richard just wreck those songs. I mean, he played his ass off. he nailed those songs. He played
Amazing.
Animal sort of different groove than Matt did. He made Animal sort of different song. You know, so when I bought those bootlegs, when they became available and I was listening to some of the stuff that Richard was doing, I was like, wow, man, it's pretty rad without much warning or practice at all, et cetera, et cetera. And just kept my eyes on the set list and got more nervous and more nervous and more nervous as it time to play. And of course, my daughter is like, Dad, you told me we were going to a concert tonight. You didn't tell me you were going to play with Pearl Jam. And I'm like, Izzy, I didn't either. Like, this is, I know. Honey, just let me compose myself. I think I gotta go on stage in a couple of minutes. And Ed called me up. I was so nervous. I went straight to the drum kit. Ed put his arms out for like a nod. Come on, give me some love right here. And I just like skedaddled. I was so nervous. I ran by Stone and just got up on the drum riser where I felt comfortable. I'm not one to go, hey, how's it going, guys? What's up, Stone? Hey, Mike, AJ, you know? I was just scared out of my mind. So I was like, get up on the riser, get comfortable on the kit, get ready. And there you have it.
And you had an out-of-body experience, I'm
Completely,
sure.
Yeah, out of body. You know, you got to kick in that song on the 4, not the 1. The first hit is not on the 1, it's on the 4. And if you don't get that right, it's going to be a train wreck from the start. So you got to come in on the 4. Stone was super stoked that I got that right, or else been like, this is a mistake, this is a mistake, this is a mistake. Guy's a train wreck, can't play this song. Come in on the, when I looked up at some point, I'm looking over at Jeff, and Jeff's just giving me this look like, you got it, man. You've got it. Like, you're in the pocket. Like, you're playing it correct. Like, stay with it. I get this like, okay, man. And then I try to look up, and Ed spins around for a minute. I'm like, oh my God, that's Eddie. What in the hell is going on right now? So, you know, the night ended. You go backstage. My daughter and I split because we wanted to get back to Bart at the arena because our car was actually in Berkeley, and we had to make sure we caught the last train.
Oh boy.
So we split. No backstage, nothing. Just let's get out of here. I was so excited. Take this set list, Izzy, et cetera, et cetera. That was insane. I gotta go. I already know what to do right now. And so we made our way to the train station. We made our way to the car. My brother was on my mind the entire drive home in the dark. I was like, what just happened tonight? I'm going to do tomorrow. Because as far as I know, I'm waking up in the morning going to San Francisco to the hospital to check on my brother. So the night went by. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't fall asleep till like 4 o'clock in the morning. I was so excited. Got up the next morning at maybe so. My wife took my younger daughter to preschool, came home from drop off. I'm upstairs. I've just gotten out of the shower. Wife comes upstairs and she looks at me and she goes, been last night? And I go, what are you talking about? And she goes, your sister. She emailed me a YouTube link this morning. What happened last night? You want to come downstairs, have a cup of coffee, and tell me what happened last night? Okay, let's talk about that, and talk about how I need to get to San Francisco as soon as possible to go see my brother. That's the best story I can give you, Chrissie.
Yeah. And your brother's doing well.
Yeah, he survived, and it was a long recovery process, and it was a lot of visits in the hospital. And mind you, he had just had a baby, so he had a young one, you know, at home with his wife, and he still goes to physical therapy for his knee, but overall he lived, and he's still one of my greatest friends. And he turns 50 in a couple, and I'm going to surprise him at a tequila bar in Guadalajara. He doesn't know I'm
scary.
So it's good.
That is awesome. Well, don't let him watch this interview then.
Hey, warned everyone that I would tell a long story, so I can't help it. It is what it is.
No, I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
I hang on to every word. So I can't wait to find out more about Ohana, and I'm sure we'll be talking again as it gets closer.
What's the top Ohana question you might have?
a top Ohana question.
What hotel are you gonna book? That's the question. Like, get on it.
We're always in the same place. I'm not giving away.
Okay. Well, the other thing that everyone needs to understand here is that we still need to meet. And we tried to meet at Ohana, but you were up on the rail and I was on the stage and I'm busy and you're there and there's 1,000 people surrounding you that I'm not going to go push and get to you, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
We were supposed to go in West Palm Beach and the electric thunderstorm came in and delayed the show, and it threw things like I have no free time to go say hi to a new friend. So we've got to make Ohana anniversary an actual in-person hello. Nice to meet you. Hug. What's going on? Because we've never actually met, which is crazy.
All right. Well, we lost Josh, but we thank him so much for his time, and we hope you enjoyed our chat tonight. See you soon.